Yes, people, welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. You know what time it is. It's Sunday. It's live at 5. It's transfer talk. Right then, got a good show today. Lots of departures, to be fair. Still no further incomings after Harvey Barnes was announced this time last week. But there will be one coming very soon. Will there be one next week? Now that the players are officially on their way back from the United States of America, the boys boarded the plane back to the Toon today from New York City after that Premier League unbeaten summer series. They have jetted off back to sunny / rainy / very windy Newcastle. Now they've got a flight ahead of them today. They had a day off yesterday where they were seeing Times Square and whatnot, and then now they will get back to Newcastle, have a day or two, and get into training before next weekend's Salah Cup. So they've got the Salah Cup August 5th and August 6th before less than 2 weeks now until the start of the Premier League campaign at home to Aston Villa. 5:30 kickoff next time out in the Premier League opening game of the season at St James's Park. But it's been a successful pre-season for Newcastle over there in the States. Like I said, unbeaten, 2 draws, 1 win. Keep me informed in the comments about what is happening in the games that are kicking off, because the summer series, Aston Villa take on Brentford. And then after that, you've got Chelsea versus Fulham. And obviously at the minute, as it stands, Newcastle are top of the table. They are top of the table in that Premier League summer series. We will obviously need results to go our way in that one. But we're winning it as it remains. We are winning that Premier League summer series. Let me just sort this out here. So I've got the phone up nicely in case you never know any breaking news or anything else happens in the meantime. But let us know what you're just saying in the comments as well before we get into this week's topics. You can see them running along the bottom of your screens. Obviously, the main ones at the minute is those outgoings called Darlow to Leeds United yesterday. And Saint-Maximin, which has officially been announced by the club in the past hour or so. Newcastle United have officially confirmed Alan Saint-Maximin's departure to Al Hilal. That is now done and dusted. 3-year deal for him, undisclosed fee, set to be around the $30 million mark. Only 23-24 million pounds for Alan Saint-Maximin, which is quite cheap, isn't it? Quite cheap, really, for me. I think we haven't got a very good deal there at all, considering the market and what these other players are going for to Saudi Arabia. But we'll get onto that more in a minute. But as well, I want to talk about Maxi's goodbye message, which was obviously very emotional. Nice little video that he put out. Obviously, we knew he was going to put out a compilation video of all those step overs, didn't we? But you know, it is that once a Geordie, always a Geordie. Love you like a Geordie brother, he said. It was good. It was nice. It was touching at the old heartstrings. But Maxi is no longer a Magpie. And what else have we got? You know, we've still got the hunt for a defender. The next one in has to be a defender, whether that's a right back in Tino Livramento, a centre back in Disasi and other players that are linked, or will it be a left back in the likes of Lewis Hall that's mentioned at the moment, or even the ones that don't go away, the rumours of your Kieran Tierney's. We'll talk about that as well. Please do give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel, and there's our socials below as well to follow if you don't already. And now we will dive into the comments. I see there's loads of them waiting already. So let's have a look what you are saying on this Sunday afternoon. Aaron's there is talking about Maxi's goodbye message. And it is an emotional one. And Aaron's also on about the defenders. Talibo is another one that we'll talk about this afternoon. The Frenchman, the French centre-back, who he's available for around 35 to 40 million. He's been linked as well. Loan to buy to Lewis will be good. Disasi will be an amazing signing. We'll be buzzing if we got him, an absolute unit. Now, the Disasi one is interesting because with Axel Disasi, you've got Fabrizio Romano saying that Newcastle United are in talks for the French centre-back. And then you've got the likes of Keith Downey at Sky saying that it is all agent-driven. It said it's just his representatives that are pushing a move, and it's not actually Newcastle United that are really interested in terms of the driving force behind it. But there's a mix-up somewhere. Afternoon, John. He's in as always. Shout out John, who's a regular viewer. Man U have had to pay that much for the striker. So how much are Man U actually paying for that Highland? Because it's stupid money. The bloke got 9 goals in Serie A last season. I think it's, 70, 80 million pound for him? 70, 80 million pound for a bloke that got single figures in the Italian league. Crazy. Another Scandinavian striker. Do you know what I mean? They're trying to do the Haaland. It's not Haaland, it's Highland. Nightmare for them. See how he gets on. But it's big money, but Man United are desperate. I can't believe they haven't went in for Harry Kane. Looks like Kane is destined for Bayern Munich for 85 million. Man United should be all over that. Instead, they're going young. They're looking at potential. And they're going for that Highland there. So, interesting move from them. Buongiorno, David. Afternoon, Sam. Buongiorno, Ian. Need some signings in ASAP. Tonali and Bonds just isn't enough for Champions League team. I do agree. I do agree, to be fair. I don't want to be pessimistic at all, but I think the ZDM Gaming's right there. It's not enough. And we know it's not enough. Eddie Howe was asked a few days ago about new signings coming in. He has said, we are trying. We are working towards more new signings. And they will come. I think we'll sign at least another 2 players, at least. I said it would always be 4 to 5 signings this window. Obviously, we've made 3 if you include Yankuba Minef, who's went straight on loan to Feyenoord. I wouldn't include him for that reason that he can't play for us next season. So 2 in Tonali and Bonds, 2 very good signings, but we still need to bolster that squad, don't we? I mean, look at that bench the other night for the Premier League Summer Series win over Brighton. It's full of young'uns, and as well as the young'uns have done in this pre-season, your Alex Murphys, your Louis Miley, who's taking all the attention, Elliot Anderson now ready for first-team football, scoring goals for fun. We do still need another 2 to 3 signings for me for the Champions League at least. So it's going to be a busy month ahead. August the 1st on Tuesday. 1 month left of the window from then. Sure, it is going to be a jam-packed one for the likes of Eddie Howe and Dan Ashraf and the rest of the guys behind the scenes there, because, the signings, we did the Harvey Barnes stuff. Last Sunday he was announced. I was there at the training ground the Thursday before that. He was there. It was done. Harvey Barnes obviously made his full debut the other night. He played a good amount of minutes there. He was very direct, causing problems against Brighton. Couldn't quite get a clean shot off on 1 or 2 occasions, but he looked dangerous. But it's been over a week now since any sort of real new rumours have came out for any new players or any advancements in the TV loan Livramento stuff we'll get into in that. But there's a lot of work to be done. And the thing is, why it hasn't really progressed over the last week or so was because Ashraf then flew out with Harvey Barnes to America. So there's been nobody, absolutely nobody at the training ground in Newcastle at St. James's Park to get deals done. It was a complete skeleton crew here on Tyneside. So now that everyone's flying back, I think give it midweek, give it 3 days or so, things will start really heating up again in the pursuit for new signings. Transfer activity will definitely be on the rise over the next few days. Buenos Aires, Stu. All right, mighty lad. Afternoon. Yo, hello. Yeah, nice one, everyone, for tuning in. Remember, do subscribe. Shout out Ian, who is a member for the channel. Thanks for being a member, Ian. New stuff coming on the Magpie channel for members. We've got some giveaways coming up. We've got all sorts coming up, so stay tuned for that one. Love this. Now better. Sunday dinner on the go. Bit of the Magpie channel. Only missing a brewski. Well, mate, the Sunday dinner has been eaten. Been at Toby the day. I didn't have one, but the missus had a carvery. Now we can have a brewski. Good stuff. But I do like it. I do like it. Stu's got a lamb curry in the slow cooker. That sounds fantastic, to be fair. More so chicken for me, but the curry part sounds absolutely lovely. This transfer window has given me clinical depression. Mate, I hope you were supporting Newcastle a few years ago, because I tell you what was clinical depression. Waiting for a fucking loan sign on deadline day. That was clinical depression. This is absolute joy. Signing Tonali for 55 million and Harvey Barnes for 40 million. This isn't clinical depression, mate. I know what you mean, though. I would say more so anxiety than clinical depression, waiting for those players to come in. But I'm calm with it. In the owners we trust. Yeah, in Eddie Howe we trust. So don't worry. Don't be depressed. There's a month and a bit to go of the transfer window. We'll get them in. We'll get them in. Afternoon, Manzo. Can't believe the peanuts we're getting for players, says Daz. I think that leads we're nicely into the first topic below there, which is Darlow Deportes. Call Darlow, 3-year deal, 400 grand, Leeds United. I don't understand why it's only 400 grand. 400 grand is absolute peanuts It really is, like Dad says. I mean, 400 grand is nothing in this day and age. Carl Darlow, for me, I thought would have at least got 3, 4, 5 million. 400 grand. What is going on there? I think that's an absolute bargain. I know we're just desperate to get rid of players. We want to get people off the wage bill, but 400 grand is nothing. I think it's really low, that, like 400 grand. It really is. And I think Leeds have got a very good deal. You know, I think for a solid championship keeper, you look at how well he did for us winning the league. Under the Rafa Benitez days, called Darlow, featured a lot. And he was at the club nearly a decade, 9 years, Darlow, in the tunes. So fair play to him. He had a bit of an emotional message as well. So, you know, he's grew up here. His best friends are from here now. His family, you know, his kids have been raised here and whatnot. But Darlow is signed for Leeds. Good signing for them. Good move for us. Not transfer fee wise, but just to get him off the books because we've got loads of keepers. We are stacked. We've still got Dubravka at the minute. Pope, Dubravka, Karius, Gillespie, and now Darlow's gone. So there's still 4 keepers there, you know. And you'll see one of them move. I think Martin Dubravka will still move this window as well. So when you look around at it, this window, we are getting rid of a lot of players. Ryan Fraser and who else? Who else we got? Ryan Fraser and Isaac Hayden are both linked with moves away as well at the moment. Fraser also linked with Leeds United. The likes of Isaac Hayden that are linked with going to Celta Vigo with Rafa Benitez. Madness. We'll get into that soon. What was I reading before? It was Isaac Hayden and someone else linked with Celta Vigo. Obviously, Rafa Benitez is there now at Celta. Back in La Liga is Rafa, and it's Hayden and Manquillo that are linked to join up with Rafa Benitez. Celta Vigo for Manquillo and Isaac Hayden. Free transfers as well. These are just rumours, by the way. This is nothing too legit. This is just a Twitter rumour and stuff that's going around. I haven't had any information on this, but obviously I know the club are really desperate at the minute to get the likes of Isaac Hayden off the books, even like Javier Manquillo, who comes in and does a good shift. I think he looked good in pre-season, to be fair, but he's on his way out. Wage bills mainly, isn't it? And for FFP to show you can get those players off the books, you can make signings and sales, not just bringing people in, but you need those outgoings as well. And getting rid of Hayden, who isn't going to get any game time, makes sense. Isaac Hayden will leave Newcastle this summer. Obviously, he left last year, didn't he? Went to Norwich on loan. Now he's linked with a move to Spain. I tell you what, that would be a lovely deal for him. Isaac Hayden at Celta Vigo, I'd snap the hands off for that. Rafa obviously wants a reunion. And then Javier Manquillo, I think that's a good signing for them and for us. So we'll get rid of them. Again, it's a shame that we're not getting any real money from them. But if you're offloading them, that's the main thing. Offloading them and making space, because the club are really at the minute are trying to slim that squad down. You know, we've got rid of Jamal Lewis. He's went to Watford on loan. That'll probably be made permanent if he does a half a decent job. Obviously, we've got rid of Darlow now. Fraser, Hendrick, and Hayden, Manquillo, all up for grabs. So we're going to get rid of about 7-8 players this window, and it's deadwood. That is so dead, that is desperate to get rid of. Do you know what I mean? That is rotten, that wood. We need to get rid of those as soon as possible. And then throw in Martin Dubravka in the mix. You could nearly get a bloody starting 11 out of the players we're going to sell this summer, including your Alan Saint-Maximins as well. So there's lots of work still to be done in the remaining month of the window, definitely. Jimmy saying, Matty lad, best part of the weekend for me. Appreciate that, Jimmy. Glad I can help out there for your weekend entertainment. Appreciate that one. Quick heads up there. We'll talk about this at the end of the video as well. But obviously there will not be a live at 5 next Sunday because I will be inside St. James's Park. It is the Cellar Cup next weekend. It's the 4:30 kickoff next Sunday against Villarreal. So stay tuned. Obviously there'll be plenty of videos from that day and that match. But there'll be no live at 5 because I'll be watching the match live in St. James's. But what we're going to try and do is maybe do a live on the Friday instead of the Sunday this coming week. And then once the season starts, once the transfer window ends, try and keep this live show up for you lot. So we'll have to find out what day works best for people then, maybe a Thursday or something like that. But yeah, we'll definitely try and keep the live show going for you because I can see you are enjoying it. There's nearly 500 people tuned in at the moment. Please do give it a quick thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. David's asking, would Maitland-Niles be a decent sign on a free? I'm surprised Maitland-Niles is still a free agent, actually. I thought someone would have swapped snapped him up. Maitland-Niles, didn't work out from recently, has it? The clubs that he's went to, like Southampton and that. So, nah, I would probably stay clear of that. We nearly signed him a couple of years ago, but nah, I would give Maitland-Niles a miss, to be honest. I don't think he improves us. And another one that I haven't mentioned actually on the bottom of the screen and as well is Harrison Ashby. Harrison Ashby, who started and played well for Newcastle the other night against Brighton in America, is edging closer to a move to Swansea City, the young right back on the verge of joining that championship side. Very good move for him, that. Makes sense. Makes sense for us. Gives him valuable game time. And yeah, Ashby, who came with high hopes. West Ham were gutted that they lost him. And he's came to us, hasn't really kicked on, had some bad injuries. And if he goes to Swansea and does well, it's a good sign. Can we bring him back? Can he start featuring now and again? Bit of a Trippier understudy. Wait and see. Robert looks forward to this one every Sunday. Cheers, Robert. Appreciate that, mate. This is a good question. I think when I read the full one, Clean Mags. Would you be up for leaving St. James Park if we had a stadium like the Mercedes-Benz one in Atlanta? It's a tough one, this right now. I did a good few videos on stadium expansions and is it enough? Will we move? Do I want to move? I mean, in an ideal world, if we could build St. James Park up to 80, 90,000, perfect. Stay there in that perfect location we've got. Cathedral on the hill. The history that we've got with that stadium, the atmosphere it generates, everything's perfect in terms of how close it is, proximity to the centre, train station, pubs, everything spot on. Because if we did move, obviously we'd be moving, there's been talks of way further along the quayside, there's been talks of, your Gosfas and in the past, the Town Moor and everything. I mean, like I said, if you could get your own way, you would have 80 to 100,000 at St. James Park. Expand the Gallagher, expand the East Stand, all of that. We know the difficulties around doing both because of the listed buildings around there, the council works, all of this sort of thing. Obviously, the owners have talked about extending the Gallagher. That fan zone is now going to be there for the next 3 years, though. So that's not happening for a while. The East Stand is the new hot topic where they're looking at extending the East Stand instead. How much can we get on that, though? Another, 6 to 10,000? Yes, it's going to help, but not a game changer. It's not a massive boost for us. So I think it's probably inevitable that we do move. If we can't sort out the expansions, and you've seen there's been over 100,000 people just bought the membership for Newcastle United this upcoming season. 100,000 people buying memberships just for the chance of having a chance in a ballot to get a ticket for a game. 40 quid a year nearly, just to have one chance of getting one ticket. You'd be lucky to get that. It's bonkers. So we know how much you could fill St. James's, way more than the 52,000 capacity we've got. Probably way more than your 70, 80,000 that you could maximise the attendance to with expansion. We wouldn't be able to expand it more than 70, 80,000, no way. So even that you could fill. And that's not taking into account when in 5 years' time, if what the owners are hoping for in terms of challenging for the Premier League and winning trophies, imagine the interest then when you have more foreign fans coming over from your Americas, your islands, everywhere. So imagine how much that would go up. It's crazy. So I think when you look at those stadiums as well, like the Mercedes-Benz one in Atlanta, and obviously Newcastle United's new CEO Darren Eales pretty much built himself, not single-handedly, he'd be fucking knackered, wouldn't he? I mean, in terms of planning and building and really growing that club, Atlanta, because it didn't exist until he went in and he got the deal with Adidas and he designed the kits and he designed the stadium and everything was, going through him and obviously other people behind the scenes. But that stadium is unreal, that Mercedes-Benz one. The roof, everything is amazing. And I've been to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That's one of my favourites. That new stadium's class. Doesn't lose its atmosphere like some new stadiums do. I think the Spurs one really holds it well. So I think 10 years, 15 years down the line, I think it's inevitable that we do end up moving stadium. Would I be up for it? I'd be gutted because St. James Park's so special. First game, obviously, I went to, was there. It was an 8-0 win over Sheffield Wednesday back in 99. So Bobby Robson. And it holds loads of great memories and it's an unbelievable atmosphere and it's a really unique, special stadium for the building itself, and inside and outside, and its location. But it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna happen. These new owners, the direction the club's going in, the demand to match the supply. Yeah, I think it is. And to be fair, would I be up for it? 50-50 really. I mean, once you see how good the stadium would be when it would be built, it would depend, wouldn't it, on what it would look like, where it would be. But I think it's just one of those things that's going to happen if we're going to move forward without the dream scenario of being able to expand it, without that ideal extension of the East Stand, the Gallowgate. We probably are going to have to get a new stadium. A very good question, Clean Mags. I like it. More questions like that, please. More questions like that. And again, I want to hear what you are seeing in the discussion as well. I want to eventually get down to the comments. There's loads of them need to get through. So let me know your answer to that as well in the chat, and I'll reply to them. Would you be up for leaving St. James's Park? It won't happen for another at least 10 years, I would say. But eventually, 5-10 years' time, would you be up for a new St. James's Park, a new stadium? Hi, Matty. Tino, Livramento, same for Newcastle United. Axel Disasi, same for Newcastle United. Lewis Hall, same for Newcastle United. Jeremy Dogu and Federico Chiesa. Jonathan David, Nicolo Zanillo, Ray. Good stuff. Aye, that's a lot of signings. I wouldn't mind them. Doku, Chiesa is the one that fans are really keen on, isn't it? The right winger. I don't think we're signing that for this window now. After what Eddie Howe was saying, but again, he could be bluffing with what he was saying. He doesn't think there'll be enough room in the budget for a new forward unless it was someone on loan. We'll try and get back to HIJACK on loan. That's been rumoured as well. Another forward on loan who's versatile on loan. Just seen a message there from Keith Downey saying that understand the fee Al Ali are paying for Newcastle United for Alan Saint-Maximin is £23 million. So Keith from Sky Sports has confirmed that it is 23 million British pounds for Alan Saint-Maximin. Poor that. Cheap. Not a great deal for us. That we paid 90 million for him, was it? Rising to 20 plus with add-ons 4 years ago. 4 years later, you're only making a tiny profit in this day and age when you've got Fabinho going to Saudi for £40 million. I think £23 million for Alan Saint-Maximin. I think we've been bumped a little bit there, to be honest with you. But yeah, Chiesa, will we sign him? Oh, we know that the focus is on the defender, and Eddie Howe has said he's looking at a right-footed centre-back and a left-back/right-back. So we'll see. Well, this is the interesting one, isn't it? Ashby's on the verge of going to Swansea on loan. Sean's asking why would he if Livramento wasn't happening. Well, Livramento is still on the table. The bid is still there. Southampton want an extra 10 million. Newcastle are offering 30 million. Southampton want closer to 40 million. Can we meet in the middle? Will we end up agreeing a deal on 33, 34 mil with add-ons? Something like that. Chucking a Ryan Fraser that nobody wants. So will that happen? Manquillo was obviously linked with Celta Vigo, going to Spain to join Rafa on a free transfer. So the right backs are cutting down there. Obviously, Kraft's come back from injury. So that's the thing with the transfer window. There's so many things that can change because the dice can roll where someone leaves, someone doesn't leave. A bid comes in and a bid gets rejected. That's why loads can change in the remaining 4 or 5 weeks of the window. Absolutely loads can change. Adam saying Mbappe for a loan deal. That would be amazing. But Mbappe isn't actually going to Saudi anymore. He's turned them down. He has said that he doesn't want to talk to them. Do you know what I mean? Mad. He doesn't want to talk to Saudi Arabia. Mbappe has turned down 700 million, whatever it was. Absolutely bonkers, So he's turned that down. He wants that move to Real Madrid. He wants his little bonus from PSG that's coming in on the 1st of August, was it? He gets paid 60 million. So he's not gone to Saudi, so he's not coming to Newcastle on loan. But I tell you what, people were saying, because Alan Saint-Maximin put that message out saying, you'll see me again soon. People were automatically saying, oh, that means he's coming back. He's gonna sign for Saudi, then he's come back on loan, or he's gonna come on loan in Newcastle in January. And I think he just meant he's gonna come back and visit as a fan, mate. I think he's just gonna come back as a supporter, as a spectator at St. James, is what he meant. He's because he mentioned the fact that he's gonna watch every Newcastle game still. He says he's gonna still support the team. He's gonna watch every game, and yeah, you're going to tune in for all the results. So Alan Saint-Maximin, saying that once a Geordie, always a Geordie, and he's going to continue supporting the club, and he'll see us soon. I think just means that he would do that. You know, I think it just means he would come back when he can to sit in the stands. What else we're seeing in the chat? A couple of people here saying Disasi is going to Chelsea. Haven't heard that one. Haven't heard that one. Manziel, we're supposed to be interested in Bowie, the right back from Galatasaray. Never heard of him, not going to lie. Never heard of him. Disasi going to Chelsea, deal agreed. Let me have a quick look at this. I'm going to look at this. People are talking about Disasi to Chelsea. First I've heard about this. And imagine if he does, because obviously Chelsea got Badashil, who Newcastle were, oh shit. It's on the Athletic now. Chelsea reached agreement for Disasi. Wow, well, see, 9 minutes ago. So that changes everything on these transfer shows, and that's why we like to do them live, and that's why I keep the phone up there. So even though Fabrizio Romano was saying that Newcastle were in talks, it looks like Chelsea have swooshed right in there. Just changing the title on the bottom for people to have a look at. Chelsea hijacking the Disasi deal. Now, we did say that Sky Sports, Keith Downey was saying that Newcastle aren't really pursuing Disasi. It was his agent that was driving talks. But then obviously transfer guru, you know, the well-renowned Twitter expert, Fabrizio Romano was saying that, you know, Newcastle, he said that it was Newcastle and Man United that were in talks with Monaco for Axel Disasi. The Athletic are reporting 9 minutes ago that Chelsea have reached an agreement with Monaco for Axel Disasi. £38 million. The 25-year-old French centre-back who is going to come in because Wesley Fofana is injured again. He was part of the France squad for the World Cup last year. And obviously he joins another French centre-back in Badashil. Wow, so there's big breaking news there. Transfer talk live for you. Axel Disasi on his way to Chelsea. That's a shame because he's going to go there. He's going to be absolutely class. And we're going to be missing out on that one. That's great. Sure, we've got other targets. We've got other plans. It'll be someone that comes out of absolutely anywhere. So we'll see about that one. But Disasi to Chelsea. Newcastle have been in talks with them for weeks now, according to Romano. But he's away. He is away. We'd love to see Kane to buy and protect Shearer's record. Well, that's the best thing about it, isn't it? That is definitely the best thing about Kane going to the Bundesliga. Stay away. What else we got? Who do you think will start in midfield? Says John, so harsh to drop any of them. Well, the talk from the last couple of days is that it'll be Elliot Anderson that's going to be starting in midfield as well for Newcastle against Villa. So is that going to be Anderson, Bruno, Tonali? Is that going to be Anderson, Bruno, Joelinton? Is Willock going to come back? No, I don't think he would come back in yet because of he hasn't played much of pre-season. Same with Longstaff. He's been carrying bits of niggles, and to be fair, those two aren't going to be first choice anymore. Willock and Longstaff are going to be on the bench next year. The starting midfield you'd think would be Tonali, Bruno, and Joelinton. But then, are we going to ease Sandro Tonali into life in the Premier League? Obviously, Eddie Howe did that with Bruno Guimaraes. So, could that midfield against Villa on the opening day in less than a fortnight be Bruno, Joelinton, and Elliot Anderson? We'll wait and see. But at least there's option. Hall, Tobido, and Livramento. Tobido is another centre-back that's heavily linked. Matty, did you see West Ham offered 18 to 20 million for Ward Prowse? And that, yeah, I did, and that got swiftly rejected. So I would see, for me, I think they'll get him. I think Ward Prowse will move to West Ham. I think it's a good replacement for them. Obviously, they're looking to spend that Declan Rice money. I think Ward Prowse definitely deserves to be in the Premier League. I think it fits. That signing Ward Prowse at West Ham makes sense. It's a good move. And their midfield's looking alright, you know, with Ward Prowse and Paqueta in that. It's looking good. Matty, did you see the Amazon documentary trailer What do you make of it? Unreal. Absolutely buzzing for it. Can't wait to see that. I've got some news next week about that trailer, so keep your eye on that one. Some news about the Amazon Prime documentary next week and a video about that, so stay tuned for that one. Some interesting news and a video for that one, but the Amazon documentary looks unreal. Can't wait to see it. The real behind the scenes look. You know, we've seen Eddie Howe in a different light. Keith asked him on Sky the other day about me swearing and that, and it was funny. Eddie Howe was saying, "Oh, I don't like to hear myself swear, but I get carried away on the training ground." And we've seen Callum Wilson go back to his old school and chat up the teachers and that. You know, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to this, and to see what it is like inside of the Newcastle dressing room is going to be amazing, because that trailer where it showed you Eddie Howe talking about Man United, saying, "Oh, well, if Man United want to come here and have a fast game, let's fucking give it to them." And we did give it to them. So I'm looking forward to being a fly on the wall in that eye. I cannot wait for that documentary. Cannot wait. Hi, Matty. Keep with the good work. Cheers, Lawrence. Bottle of red wine on the go. Nice one. Oh, Chinese in the media future. That sounds delightful as well. Brentford 1, Villa 0. Cheers for the updates there, lads. Work my way down these comments. I am 20 minutes behind on them. There is that many of them, and there's 600 people tuned in, so drop a like if you haven't already. 1-0 Brentford. I'm not sure how that affects the summer series table. It'd be funny, though, if we win that, and we'll probably land back in Newcastle by the time the game is finished today. To see if we've won the summer series or not, but obviously results will have to go our way. With Goldison, Anderson and Miley coming on, we are very, very blessed. Again, Louis Miley's another one who was an option this year. The young lad, 17-year-old, he's had an amazing pre-season. He's not going out on loan. Eddie Howe has said he will not be going on loan. So how much will he feature remains to be seen, but he looks ready. That game against Chelsea, he was absolutely ridiculous. He was better than Enzo Fernandez, and Enzo Fernandez cost 105 million. So it says something What else we got? Loads of people saying about the 400 grand Caldolo fee being a joke. What's the betting we sign someone before the Salah Cup? I'd give odds of 4-1. I could see it happening. I'm telling you, once it hits Wednesday, Thursday next week, the transfers will really step up again. And one way of selling tickets, if you like, because they're still trying to sell tickets for the Salah Cup, because they're putting a lot out on social media at the minute, the club, and reminding people of when it's happening, what's on, you know, the festival of football, if you like. You know, you've got Fiorentina, Nice, Villarreal, Newcastle, and the women's all playing across that weekend. There's quite a few games, 3 games on the Saturday, 2 matches on the Sunday. The problem is that they're not that cheap. Do you know what I mean? 55 quid for pre-season games is quite expensive. Now, you're getting a lot. You are getting those teams that I've just mentioned. You are seeing some European football. You can spend 8 hours if you're Saturday at St. James's Park if you really want to do, because the first game kicks off at 12:30, and the last game kicks off at 6. So you're looking at 12 till 8 there inside St. James's Park. So you need a kind of bit of money for your food and drink as well. And I'm sure you'll be able to leave the stadium. Surely you'll be able to leave coming in and out, because not everyone will want to spend a fortune on pies and pints. You know what I mean? People think, "Oh, I want to nip to Greg's, or I want to go get a bottle of pop from Tesco instead of the stadium or something." Well, I don't know, but we'll see what the club say about that. But it's a long day. It's a lot of money. And like I said, it's 55 quid for pre-season games. So I can understand where some people have been thinking, "Well, I've got a family. If it was a 10-hour match, I just want to see Newcastle. Really, I'm not really fussed about Nice." Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe they will think about that in the future. And then obviously that weekend is Loose Fest as well. So a lot of people would have already spent a fortune on Loose Fest tickets, you know. So there's lots going on that weekend. Next year, I think they've got to communicate with each other and realise when it's going to be on. So people are going to try and work out the weekends a bit better. So they're not saying, "Oh, well, we've committed to Loose Fest, we can't go to the Salah Cup now," or "The pre-season's coming up, we'll go to that." And, you know, they need to sort that out a bit more organised next time. But I was going to say, in answering Gary's question, what's the chance of saying someone? Quite high, and that would push ticket sales if you had a brand new shiny signing. But for those that weren't in America or have only watched them on TV this week and didn't make the Rangers game for Tonali, you could get the first chance to see Tonali, and for most of us, the first chance to see Harvey Barnes. But the thing is with that, we've seen Barnes at Leicester a lot of people have seen Tonali at Rangers or on TV. So maybe a new signing before next weekend would get the excitement bubbling a little bit more. Let's go down. Thank you very much for this one. Not small, just still loading for becoming a YouTube member. Cheers for that. Remember, the link is in the description to become a YouTube member, and there will be lots coming on the memberships. Going to be doing membership-only streams, giveaways, loads of stuff like that. So, yeah. Let's have a look. City got 19 million. Aye, but that's the England hero. Do you know what I mean? That's the under-21 hero. He's quality, and he'll do well at Burnley, I think. Trafford there, the new keeper. I'm not confident if we go in the season with targeting Byrne at left back. Hendrick's not got any interest, lol. He hasn't, that's why he's still here. You'll end up on loan to fucking Macclesfield or something, Hendrick. £4.50 for Hendrick. Dummett, Richie, Hayden, Hendrick. Well, Dummett and Richie are staying. They've signed new deals, so those won't be some of the players to leave. We need a left back. All of our dead would go for free. Hayden, Hendrick, Mankiw, Fraser. Brentford beating Villa. Yes, they are. Why are we not looking at Laporte from City for 25 mil? Is Laporte really available for 25 mil? That's an absolute steal. That's mad. Didn't hear about that. Yeah, talked about this one before. Talked about them too. Joining up with the old Benitez, a Rafa reunion over there in Spain. Still think Ashraf has something going on. He does have something going on all the time. Have you seen the Gateshead vlog? It's on Sky now. That Sky Sports have literally just popped up there on the app saying Chelsea agreed deal in principle with Monaco for defender Axel Disasi with fee in the region of £38 million. Not a bad deal, really. That's how much they expected him to go for. You're 35 to 40 million for your French centre-back, and he's coming into his prime, best years ahead of him. Chelsea are cooking in now. I think under Pochettino, they're making some really good signs. That Jackson, the forward, looked very good against us. Obviously, they've got Nkunku coming in as well, who they'd signed a year ago, and then he joined after he left the Bundesliga. So, yeah. Chelsea making some good moves. Newcastle biding the time defensive-wise. But as I was saying, Ashraf's got something going on. I was talking to him about the Gateshead game. I was saying to him, he looked knackered. He was like, I am. It looked like he was working hard behind the scenes. And obviously, you've seen him in the Harvey Barnes training ground vlog as well. If you haven't seen that already, have a look at it. Richard, have you got your contest ticket for Seller Cup? I have indeed. Downloaded them over the weekend. Got the email for the Seller Cup tickets, and now it is just straight in the Apple Wallet. And that's an interesting one. No more paper tickets from next year. Season tickets are digital and everything. And it's straight on the old QR code. So that'll be interesting next weekend to see how that pans out. Getting into Peter's comments now before about St. James's Park, when I was asked the question on would I be happy to leave for a big fancy new stadium like the Mercedes-Benz one in Atlanta. Adam never leaving. Greatest city in the world. Greatest stadium in the world. I think we have to move to compete with the big guns. Let's scroll down a little bit, catching up with these comments now, still from about 20 minutes ago. Absolutely mad. What's your thoughts on the men's team getting a new stadium and St. James's Park being for the women's under 21s? I mean, that would be alright, to be fair, but it would be asking a lot for the women's and the under 21s to fill St. James's Park, considering, well, the women's did get 30,000 nearly, I suppose, but I've beaten them under 21 games at St. James's Park where there's only a couple of thousand. But that would be a shame, wouldn't it? That would be a big thing. Like, what would happen to St. James's Park if we were to move? Would they keep it for things like that? What would they do? Would they knock it down? Would they turn it into something else? Because I've been to, obviously, the Emirates quite a few times now for Arsenal away. And I've been to the site of Highbury, obviously the old stadium Highbury. I've been there, and that is now apartments. It's weird. It's honestly, the entrance is nearly the same. Old school entrance, the doors and that. and you've got the square of apartments around the pitch, and the pitch is now just like trees and that and seats and stuff. It's mad to think that's where Thierry Henry and the Invincibles and that were ripping it up, and now it's just a bunch of trees and apartments and balconies and that. It's weird. So what would happen to St James Park if Newcastle did move? Imagine that when you look at it now and you see it in all its glory, sitting on top of that hill there in the city centre, and just to think if it wasn't there, it would be so weird, wouldn't it? And what would they do with it? Would they turn it into hotels or apartments or really Newcastle United Museum, or what would they do? It would be weird. Not a nice thought, actually. It's quite sad. How do you feel about Maxi leaving? Mixed emotions for me. It makes sense getting rid of Alan Saint-Maximin. Inconsistency, injuries, doesn't fit the system, but at the same time, he was brilliant for us in those hard times. He was a shining light in the dark days under Bruce and Ashley. So it is a shame. It is sad, but we need to recoup money, and I think Harvey Barnes is an upgrade. His goals and assists don't lie. He is an improvement. So yeah, it's sad because he was a bit of a cult hero for me, but I think it makes sense. People saying, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium was class. 70,000 is enough. Well, it isn't enough, Adam. 70,000 isn't enough because we've got more than 30,000 people waiting for a season ticket. So 70,000 wouldn't be enough. There you go. Other people with a bit of sense there saying, we could fill an 80,000 stadium. Of course we could. Why is Adam saying we can't fill a 70,000, 80,000 stadium? There's 30,000 people waiting for a season ticket. That would mean 82,000 season tickets. And that's not even taking into account the amount of tickets you could sell on general sale, memberships, tourists coming in, everything. We could fill easily 80,000. Easily 80,000. What else we got? Never leave St. James's, says Paul. Lewis Hall would be amazing. We'll talk about Lewis Hall soon. 23 million is shocking considering Ruben Neves was 55 million in his last year of his contract. 55 million, Ruben Neves. Fucking hell. Because people again talking about, 23 million for Saint-Maximin is not enough. Surprised there's been no sponsor around St. James on the training ground yet. The club need to look at this. Shout out Matt by 24/7 and the lads there. Yeah, I'm surprised as well. It's in the works. It's definitely in the works in terms of a deal being negotiated for training ground sponsor. You see it. Liverpool have got the AXA training ground. You see Manchester United with different sponsors on their training shirts, jumpers, match day warm-ups. And we've got nothing at the minute. What a big opportunity has been missed for someone. All this footage in America and all these videos and games and Sky Sports and the fans over there seeing just shoulder around me, we'll be walking around non-stop with just Castorian and Newcastle badge. They've had an out in the middle of the shirts on the training gear. You share your givens and everything. Nothing. It looks nice. I'm a fan of it. It looks clean. But in terms of making money and a sponsor not coming in and having something in the middle of the training gear, it's strange. And the training ground. I think it'll come though. I think I'll be very surprised if we're sitting here this time next year having the same conversation, saying that there's no sponsor on the training gear or there's no training ground sponsor. There definitely will be. Give it a year. They'll be negotiating. They'll be trying to get the best deal. There'll definitely be new sponsors. Brentford 2-0 up now against Villa. I'm not sure how that affects the old table. But I think that'll be good, actually. But I'm glad Brentford are winning. Fuck Villa. Quick question here. I think Bruno's had a bit of an off pre-season. He's not been as switched on as other players, just my opinion. Well, yes, in a way, I think the whole midfield, to be fair, especially the other night, was a bit hit and miss again as well, especially before the Brighton game. That Villa match, I thought Tonali and the midfield and the defence, even Botman and that talked about it, was a bit sluggish, but it's pre-season. I'm not going to judge them yet. It's pre-season. They're getting up to scratch. Bruno's obviously been away with Brazil as well. So for me, I'll give it time, but Bruno, I think that leads into nicely to touch on Bruno Guimaraes' contract situation. You know, Bruno was saying yesterday that he wants to sign a new deal, but nothing's really progressing over it. There's a bit of doubt. He used the word doubt, which was a bit scary, but I think maybe it's the Portuguese translation and the meaning of it isn't quite as negative that we may take it. You know, Eddie Howe also said obviously they want Bruno to sign a new deal. He's still got 3 years on this deal and he's not going anywhere. Like, just don't worry about it. Everything's fine. Bruno will sign. And yeah, just hopefully we get that done soon. It's just the issue of FFP and we can't keep dishing out massive contracts to new players all the time. You know what I mean? Like, if Bruno gets a new deal where he's on 250 a week or something, then you're gonna have everyone else turn around and go, well, I want 250 a week now. Do you know what I mean? He's not gonna be turning around saying, well, even though I only signed last year, I'm only on 110 grand a week. I want 250, 200. You know, so we'll see. How come FFP doesn't apply to Chelsea? It does. People think this because Chelsea have spent loads of money recently. Obviously, they spent 600 million in January. They're spending money again this summer. Chelsea, the big loophole in the Todd Bowley was the 8-year contracts, dishing out 8-year deals to everyone, spreading that cost over 8 years. So, say, for example, signing Enzo Fernandez for 100 million, but he's on an 8-year deal, that's like, 12 million a year. So, it's not like they've slapped down 100 million. They were doing the 8-year deal. And the thing is with Chelsea, they've made money off player sales. Chelsea have made money off player sales. This is the way around FFP. You have to City do it as well. But Chelsea, we're talking about Chelsea. How much did they get for Eden Hazard a few years ago at Real Madrid? Big money. Straight in that, FFP. You know, how much did they get for Lukaku here and there? How much have they got for Raheem Sterling when he went to Man City? When they signed him from Man City. And now Man City selling players like Sterling, selling players, you know, Cancelo for grabs and that. You know, City and Chelsea are selling players, buying players. You've got to be traded. Newcastle haven't traded. That's why we've spent over 300 million now since the takeover, and we've made no money until the 23 million with Saint-Maximin. We sold Chris Wood. That was still at a loss for what we paid him. We sold Shelby for pennies, and we're selling Darlow for fucking peanuts. You know, we haven't made any money. Chelsea have sold players and made profits on them, you know, and their revenue is huge as well. Our revenue, our marketing, everything is tiny because we've done nothing for years. Chelsea sponsorship deals are massive. The revenue that's generated is huge. Everything, you know, they've won Champions Leagues. The money they've made is gigantic, especially compared to Newcastle. Someone said there, you know, 500 million. Chelsea made 500 million last year. Newcastle made 180. There you go. What else we got? Greetings from Norway, says Roy, who is also a member. Thanks very much for that one, Roy. Seeing more stuff coming about Disasi. Got that comments coming in that we'll get into soon. Bruno, what was that one? Bruno to be sold next year for a massive profit, and on with the rebuild we go. That is very controversial indeed, and this will probably happen further along the line, you know, like Bruno will get sold. Bruno, he hasn't made it a secret that he wants to play for Real Madrid. You know, he wants to play in Spain. He won't move for another, I'd be surprised if it was next year. I would say it would be 2-3 years because he is still young. But Newcastle, like I've mentioned, Man City have done it, Chelsea have done it. We will have to sell players. You will have to sell players that you feel like you can afford to lose. Obviously, Bruno at the minute, the feeling of him going is disastrous, but long term, depending if you know your Louis Mailey comes through in a couple of years' time, or you can get someone else, like maybe you could see 1 or 2 players like that leave because you can make silly money from him. If you sell Bruno for 80 to 100 mil, then you never know. It just depends on what we do for trophies, how much money we make through success and sponsorships and all that. But you never know. Bruno's head's been turned. Sell him. Bring in 2 or 3 good young lads. Big shout there from Michael as well. What else we got? Hall and Chalobah from Chelsea. Yes, I would take Laporte for 25 mil. That was the comment before, by the way, about Bruno. Few people seeing Bruno wanting to leave. I don't think so. Brentford's 2-1 now. Cheers to Al Stapleton for that update. Van de Ven from Wolfsburg. I would love Van de Ven. Obviously, he's been really linked with the move to Spurs, hasn't he, this year? Van de Ven, and they're holding out for 40 mil. Brilliant saying that would be. And like you said there, David, perfect partner for Sven Botman. Been linked to Ashley Phillips today too, the young defender from Blackburn. I would be lying if I have said I've ever heard of him. Fresneda, though, was the one that we were talking about back in January on the channel when Newcastle were indeed trying to sign him from Spain, but the young Spanish defender didn't come. Then he was linked to Arsenal, and then recently, as a week or so ago, he's been linked to Bournemouth. Now with maybe Livramento deal stolen because of the hefty fees that Southampton want, could we reignite our interest in Ivan Fresneda? Yes, I think we could, especially when you're looking at, I think he's available for around 18 million. I wouldn't mind a bit of Fresneda. He can play left back as well. He can play right back and left back. Promising young Spanish talent. So, yeah, I would not rule that one out. He is a player that Newcastle have been watching the past couple of years. Other people worried about Bruno not signing his new contract. He's still got 3 years on his deal. Don't worry. Even Matty Lad, people talking about this right now. You're very right there. Haggis Basha 91. Good name. Newcastle will indeed be using Anthony Gordon as a third choice striker next year. He will be an option down the middle, on the right and on the left. And he started pre-season really well, obviously. Full of confidence after lifting the Euro under 21s as the player of the tournament. And he's just looked so sharp and so fit, Anthony Gordon, in pre-season. And himself has said, when he came from Everton, he was shocked at the demands and the levels at Newcastle United compared to at Goodison Park, and he just wasn't ready for it. He wasn't fit enough at all. Dave's tuning in from Thailand. Keep it up, love the live streams. Cheers, Dave. Wish I was in Thailand. Gotta tell you that, wouldn't mind going to Thailand right now. David, if you want to donate a flight, that would be great in the super chat. Become a member and send a plane ticket to Thailand. That sounds absolutely fantastic if we could do that. Villa's 2-2 now. Oh, Villa have pulled it back against Brentford in the Premier League Summer Series. Brentford were 2-0 up, now it's 2-2. Another entertaining game over there in the States. Such a shame Disasi is going to Chelsea. Axel was a must need. Kyle's asking, do you plan on going in for the earlier match on Sunday? I'm not doing that. You don't have to. For the Salah Cup, you don't have to. You can just get in whenever you want, I think. This is a big topic, and this is mad. That we are less than a fortnight away and the Premier League tickets for Villa haven't been released. I've seen people talking about Man City's 3 weeks away at the Etihad, and nothing's been released yet. Like, what is going on? I told you too many of them went over to America. They've all been having a good time in America. We need to get things sorted out, lads and lasses. Come on. I think surely in the next few days we've got to hear on tickets for Villa, for City, for the Premier League. Only the memberships came out this week, wasn't it? So we've got to be hearing shortly on the tickets for the upcoming games next season. Not long at all. Got to release the ballot. Get the ballot. Oh, no. Is that the crack? 3-2 Villa. Oh. Villa have 2-0 down. Now they're 3-2 up. Deary me. Hosselu scored an overhead kick versus Man United. He scored in the 88th minute or something, didn't he? Hosselu doing bits at the age of 33 or something now. Fucking mental. Absolutely mental. People not happy about Disasi to Chelsea instead of Newcastle. Yeah, I think it would have been really good signing, wouldn't he, Disasi for Newcastle? Going back to the stadium comments, make it St. James's Arena with roof-do events, ice hockey, boxing, wrestling, etc. Sounds good to me, like. Sounds good to me. Yeah, that makes sense, to be fair. Imagine that. Bit of Anthony Joshua fights in Newcastle, a bit of the UFC or something up here. That'd be quality. Obviously, we've seen Sam Fender at St. James's this summer. So yeah. Thuram as a whole midfielder would be perfect for us. He would, he really would. But I don't think we're saying a midfielder now, especially with how good of a preseason Miley and Anderson have been. 3-2. Everyone's talking about 3-2 Villa. Need to get some players in this week, says Joe. Just catching up with comments now. I'm about 10 minutes behind on comments. Jesus Christ. Someone saying that they've waited 5 weeks for the new Newcastle top from Castor. That's a joke. Open the stadium on away days to watch the match. Good way to bring in extra money. I remember when we were in the Champions League against Barcelona. I was too young for it, but I've seen the crack about it where the what was the Telly West Arena at the time, which is now obviously the Utility Arena, still really known as the Metro Radio Arena. They showed the Barcelona game, didn't they? Champions League games. They had live screenings on there at the arena. So it'll be interesting if we're going to do that. Obviously, the new Cellar Stack fan zone is coming behind St. James Park and Strawberry Place there. They'll be having big nights, I'm sure, for Champions League games. So that'll be class. That'll be bouncing. But yeah, I'm sure other venues and things are going to be popping up to be showing all these games. I mean, you've seen it when we were at the Carabao Cup final. Obviously, we had that fan zone in Newcastle that I showed you with Andrew Cushion when I did an interview with him at the uni. And then obviously we had the ones in London. So yeah, plenty to be done. Too many release clause for Ashley Phillips from Blackburn. We need 4 or 5 players in, Matty, mate. Hi, mate. How many more do you think we need? Minimum 2 more, full back and a midfielder. I would say at least 2 more. I would say centre back and a full back being the priority for me. And then midfielder now with Miley, and I think the midfield's are it for now. To be fair, maybe in January do a revisit the midfield if needed. But for me, a full back would that be right back, left back, someone who can play both, and the right-footed centre back because of Shaw's age / injury worries. I would say 2 minimum, and then ideally you get a midfielder in, like someone said before. Thuram Holden would be spot on, but budget won't stretch that far, and the same would go for maybe getting you the likes of a Chiesa on the right wing, but I don't think that'll happen yet either. But I would agree, Lee. 2 minimum. How many do I think we'll bring in? 2 to 3. 2 at least, and then maybe 1 on loan. Maybe a forward on loan. We have been going on this live show for 1 hour now, people. Thank you very much for those who have tuned in or just tuned in, have tuned out, whatever it may be. Please do subscribe and like this one if you haven't already. Nearly 700 people watching. Love out like that. Cheers for tuning in. And keep your comments flowing. I'm about 10 minutes behind again. 5:50 that comment was from Lee. So 10 minutes behind on comments. I'm going through them now. And then obviously we've still got topics on the bottom of the screen to talk about as well. So have a look at that and stay tuned for them. We could fill a 100k stadium, no problem. Yes, we could. Well said. Bruno's been off his game for ages now. Something's wrong with him. Probably that injury. Let's go down the comments. Definitely St. James is 80,000. Sky Sports confirmed Disasi going to Chelsea. Yes, they have. Got that on the bottom of the screen there about them hijacking the deal. Obviously, there was a lot of talk at Newcastle. We're in discussions with Monaco for Disasi, but he is off to London. People asking about the Amazon Prime documentary. I talked about that earlier on the stream, but just to round up, it looks absolutely unreal. Can't wait to see it. And some news coming on that next week. Bruno will move to Spain when he's 27, 28. Definitely. I totally agree. Can see that happening. Catching up now. We're catching up, people. If we don't get any more players in, I think it'll be tough to get top 8. See his dad. If we don't get any more players in, it'll be tough to get top 8. Well, we finished last season 4th, mate, with this without Tonali and Barnes. So now we've got Champions League football as the big headache there, isn't it? You know, it's the big dilemma. No one knows how we will cope with 2 games a week because we haven't done 2 games a week for so bloody long. You know, how will we cope with Tuesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday? It depends, really. It depends on how far those trips are, who we get in the group stages. You know what I mean? Like, it's, have we got any injuries? Well, I mean, imagine if a Bruno gets injured, if Joe Linton gets injured, if Pope, Botman got injured, HIJACK, you know, then everything could change. And it also depends on what we do in this last month of the transfer window. Good point by Paul there. Just remember how shite Spurs are going to be without Kane. Very good point. They are going to be awful. I think Spurs will be alright, but it's a hard to call as well with this Ange Postecoglou. You know what I mean? A manager from Scotland, from Celtic, he's came from. So without Harry Kane, what with Richarlison down the middle, I think they'll do alright, but I don't think they're going to be out special. So yeah, I don't see them as a real contender anymore. I think we've really switched roles with the likes of Tottenham now. I think, you know, them being top 4 and stuff, not anymore, especially with Arsenal's rise. Tottenham finished above Arsenal like 7 years in a row, was it? This is the first time we see, you know, Newcastle haven't been in the old Champions League for 20 years. Arsenal haven't been in it for nearly 10 years, which is mental, really. Spurs were in it nearly every year. And without Harry Kane, they're going to fall off now, and aging players and the ones that have left. So, yeah. Some right centre back shouts here from Joshua. Silva from Benfica, Hincapi from Leverkusen, Zima from Torino would be good buys. All on the old European continent there. Top 6 is going to be so difficult. Aston Villa look great in attack. 3 in first half with Brentford. We need another right wing forward. Well, obviously, Almiron again is amongst the goals in pre-season like he was last year, so he should start strong hopefully when the season kicks off. And Jacob Murphy's looked really good for his delivery's got a lot better, I think. You know, his assists and stuff in pre-season have been decent. So, yeah, in an ideal world, we would bring in someone on the right as well. But like Michael said, top 6, this is going to be, some people say this is a cliche, but for me, this is going to be the most difficult Premier League in a long time. The way Arsenal are improving and now spending, you know, the fans were kicking off for so long because the Cronkies were in spending money. They've done that now. They've backed Arteta to the hill. He's spent hundreds of millions the last few seasons. He spent 100 now just on one player in Declan Rice this year. So you've got Arsenal, City, Liverpool are going to come back there rebuilding their midfield. Chelsea are going to come back in a Pochettino. Man United under Ten Hag and they're signing players, 75 million on this striker. You know, who've I missed out? You know, like we mentioned Spurs before, now Postecoglou, what they're going to do. You've got Brighton and Villa improving every year. You've got Newcastle now on the up. So it's mad. It's not like back in the day where it was literally your top 3. It was literally Man United, Arsenal, and us or Chelsea or, you know, one of those. And then obviously City came through. So It is so competitive now, the Premier League. So competitive. In the 90s, the old cinema and sometimes the City Hall would do away beanbags. Class, did they? Love out the art. Bring that back. Got to bring them back for the Champions League days. Got to bring them back for the Champions League days. Game for that, like. Packing out the air cinema. Should we go back in for Amin Guri? This was someone I really wanted to sign about a year ago. You know, a good forward there. His goal scoring record is decent. Yeah, we could, but I don't think we've got the budget for it this summer with other positions being a priority. Any chance of shifting Hendrick, Hayden and Fraser? I've talked about this at the start of the stream, but just quickly, Fraser is also linked with a move to the Championship. Like Darlow, he is rumoured to be in discussions with Leeds. Hendrick, Neiman wants him. Big wages, but he'll probably end up on loan again. He was at loan at Reading last year. He'll probably end up at Sheffield Wednesday or something. And Hayden is linked with a move to Spain to reunite with Rafa Benitez at Celta Vigo. Fraser at Celtics is Stephen. Matty, how long do you reckon until Anderson breaks the England under-21 team? Should be now. He should be getting picked now. I'm telling you. Obviously, they've just won the Euros, like, so it's a competitive team. But yeah, he should be getting a chance soon for the England squads. I think, like the understudies. Battle for the top 4 season. We won the hardest in a long time. Definitely will be the most competitive league in a long time. 8 teams fighting for top 6. What else we got? Anderson is Scottish, says Aaron. Well, he's Whitley Bay, like, but is he playing for his grandparents or something? One of them ones. Shame we didn't get Diaby. Do you think Damari Gray could be an option at right wing? It's not a huge improvement for me. Anderson plays for Scotland under 21s, ATM. There we go. He needs to switch alliances. Obviously, you know, your Grealishes and your Rices were playing for Ireland under 21s and that, and they turned to England. So we'll see. As Chicken Oriental says, Anderson won't be playing for the Jocks much longer. Right then, hour and 10 minutes in. Nearly 600 people tuned in. Subscribe and like if you haven't already. Let me see if I missed any comments or anything. Nope, don't think I have. And yeah, I think we've covered it. Obviously, the breaking news since we started the show is confirmed fee for Alan Saint-Maximin is 23 million British pounds. 23 million pounds. What a steal that is. We've been bumped there from the Saudis. And we're owned by the Saudis. Maybe we got bumped because if we did end up getting 40, 50 million for him, everyone would have kicked off and the deal wouldn't have happened. So maybe we'll have to bite the bullet on that one. I just don't think it's fair when you see some of these other players going to Saudi, like Fabinho, who was washed. Fabinho was washed. He is an old man and he is 40 million. Don't get that. Alan Saint-Maximin is still a decent age. 23 million, that's a bargain. I'm surprised the Premier League teams came in. You know, you look around, if I was a West Ham or something, I'd be like, right, we'll offer 28 million for Saint-Maximin, we'll give you a bit more. Do you know what I mean? I thought someone would have been in for him there. Like, you look around the Premier League and you think even a Brighton or something or whoever, 23 million, obviously they can't pay Alan Saint-Maximin the Saudi wages, I suppose, will be another defining factor. But as you see on the bottom of your screen, Alan Saint-Maximin, very emotional farewell message yesterday, saying, you know, he feels like a Geordie now. Once a Geordie, always a Geordie. He'll be back soon. He loves the club. Been an amazing 4 years. Had loads of chances to leave. Chose not to. And now he is away. So it was a really nice touching message from Maxi. And he has been confirmed to leave to Al Ahly by Newcastle United today. And as you can see there as well, we've talked about this a lot on this show. Chelsea are signing Axel Disasi, the Monaco centre-back. The Frenchman was linked to a move to Newcastle United to be that right centre-back partner for Sven Botman. But Chelsea have agreed a deal with 38.5 million for Disasi. So we've missed out on a right centre-back target there. And obviously the tension at the minute is also a fullback, Tino Livramento. The bid is still on the table for Livramento. £30 million. Southampton 140. Southampton really holding out there for £40 million for Livramento, and Newcastle are not going to stretch to that. Will they increase it to 33, 35 at a push? Maybe, especially if you include some add-ons. But yeah, I mean, Livramento, will it happen? Will Southampton crumble? He came off yesterday in a friendly after 45 minutes, Tino Livramento, and Southampton fans were saying, oh no, he's injured again, what a nightmare. When really it was just a precautionary. He was saying it was always the case that he was going to come off at half time. So Livramento, Newcastle still interested, bid's still there, but Southampton are valuing him £10 million higher than we are. So that one's still stalling. And of course, the left back situation at the Toon. Lewis Hall of Chelsea is still rumoured for a transfer to the Toon. You know, that one isn't going away. Lewis Hall on loan with potentially an option to buy. He is a Newcastle fan. You know, his family, his dad's a Geordie and whatnot. And he follows Newcastle United on Instagram and some of the players. And people are really getting carried away putting them two together. But Lewis Hall would be a really good sign, especially if you could get that permanent potential deal locked in where you could sign him if he does well. I would like that, because you wouldn't want to have him have a blinder next year and then have to send him back to Stamford Bridge, would you? But yeah, Lewis Hall, a young left back, especially on loan, that would really suit our budget this summer, and that would then allow us to maybe splash the cash on a centre back. So there's the left back situation. The likes of your Kieran Tierney's. It's went kind of quiet, really, on Kieran Tierney. I mean, we've looked at that and we've thought, can we put in what they want as well, like a 30, 40 million? Whereas they want 40, and Newcastle again are touching on 30, and Tierney's apparently preferring to move back to Scotland, you know. Just seeing Maxi's posted a little video as well back in Saudi. I'll get my phone out of the bloody holder. There's Maxi there with his new Saudi kit on. That seems strange. Holding his Saudi kit up. It's a funny one. Saint-Maximin, there he is. Al Hilal. Wayne Green, he wore that last season, scored a volley against Wolves in that kit. 2026, the deal for Saint-Maximin. Sponsors Alawa. And he put it, hashtag ASM to Ali in the Arabic translation is, because we only accept the best, the choice is upon him. Okay. So there it is. And there's the topics covered, to be fair. We've talked about Darlow to Leeds, 400 grand, 3-year deal, peanuts, got ripped up. We're selling players, but we're getting absolutely done over. If you ask me, like, we are getting robbed at these signings. You know, we are getting absolutely robbed. Saint-Maximin for 23, Darlow for 400 grand. Bargain buys for everyone else. We're not making much on the offloads. I'll tell you what, a few more comments before we sign out for this week's Transfer Talk Live. Get your rest of your live chats in there and I'll go through them. What else have we got? Marnie is getting €40 million after tax. Well, there's no tax in Saudi, so it's tax-free. That's why Mbappe's money was going to be crazy. It's like when in Dubai and stuff, you don't pay tax. For us who are going over there. So crazy money. Thanks, John, for that one. Good channel, Matty. ASM is steel, but if PIF know what they're doing, I guess. Cheers to Michael, Mint Crack Matty. Thank you, mate. Glad you're appreciating this Mint Crack I'm delivering on a Sunday afternoon for free. Joshy, Matty, do you know if you can leave the stadium? This is something that the club should clarify, really, especially the people that have bought tickets. I don't know, if I'm being honest, Joshua. I would imagine so. It would be a bit weird holding people hostage. You know what I mean? But obviously, in a normal match day, you can't leave, can you? But a normal match day is one game for 90 minutes. The Saturday is 3 matches, 8 hours of football on the Saturday. And on the Sunday is 2 matches. From what, 12:30? The first game, I think it is, or 1, is it? Maybe 1, 1:30. And then the Newcastle game kicks off around 4 on the Sunday, so against Villarreal. So you should be able to leave, really, especially if you've got your digital pass. It's not too much hassle, but we'll wait and see. Aaron, what formation do you think Howe would start using in future seasons? 3-2-5. Well, at the minute, he's really trusting the 4-3-3 because he's got the personnel for it. You know, it really matches the players at his disposal. In the future, I could really see him using maybe a 4-2-3-1, especially when Wilson leaves or as he continues to age and fitness issues and whatnot. But I would think for the time being a 4-3-1, a 4-3-1, a 4-3-3, or a 4-3-2-1. Yeah, for now I would see that in pre-season, he's just trying to really put off our Premier League opposition, especially against Villa in that first game, playing 5 at the back and starting Dummett. It was going horrendous. He changed it after 20 minutes. Brighton again, these games he didn't want to give too much away, which is why I don't think you should be playing Premier League teams in pre-season. I'm not a fan of it. I don't agree with it. And you've seen it with tackles, especially Man United, some of Martinez's tackles on the Arsenal players and whatnot. Imagine getting a season-long injury in a pre-season game. Nah, leave it out. For me, it shouldn't be. Pre-season for me, we should be going to America. That's fine, but if you could combine the thing where you are playing a Barcelona or a Madrid or Juventus or something, or even teams from over there, I think that's what you should be doing. Sometimes you see it where Spurs have just won the Tiger Cup in Singapore. I can't remember who they played, but just playing different teams. We play these teams twice a year. We don't want to be playing English teams and Premier League teams because it gives things away. You get a feel for it. We played Villa there a few days ago. We'll play them in 2 weeks in the league. They can get a taste of how you might line up, your tactics and stuff, and that's why how totally switch things up. I didn't like it. I think you want to be playing different teams for me. I want to be playing pre-season, and I want to be playing Bayern Munich in Australia. That's what you want to be doing, even though that would be a nightmare for flights and everything. But yeah, playing different teams. Thanks very much to Jimmy. Speaking of Australia, that was a nice way to go in for him. Jimmy over there in Australia, donating $7.89 there. Thanks very much for that one, Ian. Just woke up my little girl having a cough attack. I'll have to go back and watch what I monitor here. Hopefully they're all right, mate. Hope you're well, son. I'm sure it was a good one. Cheers, Jimmy. I hope everything's all right there. And that cough's not too bad. I hope you're all right, mate. And hope the band's all right. But thank you very much for that kind donation. What else we got then as we'll round off today's Transfer Talk Live. Craig's making the point of obviously Southampton wanting that extra 10 mil because of the huge sell-on fee, which is true. Chelsea do get a nice little percentage, is it 30%, something like that, for the fee that they would recoup from Livramento. So that's why Southampton want a bit more, but I agree, it is still bonkers. It is still too much. People saying I don't get the Livramento link, got enough right backs, Ian, why are we wasting time on him, bang average. People talking about Bowie again from Galatasaray. Any updates about RB Salzburg defender Omar Solly? All I've heard is probably as much as you in terms of online rumours. Nothing too concrete yet, but if there is, we will bring you that news when we get it. Would you trade Bruno for 3 to 4 quality signings now? No more. I would not. Definitely would not trade Bruno for anything right now, to be honest with you. No way. He is an absolute diamond, a star, world-class player in the making. He's nearly there. Bruno is absolute class, man. You couldn't replace Bruno for me. I was seeing teams that want new midfielders. He would be perfect for everyone. Bruno could slot in to Man City. Do you know what I mean? So, we have got a serious talent in our hands. He's a baller. He's a great bloke. Gets the club, the city and everything. So, no way am I trading Bruno for anything. Tune v buying in Australia with Mince's Jimmy. Right, then I think I've caught up on comments. So I'll give you 60 seconds from now to get your last chats in before we sign off. We've nearly been going for a full length of a match here. We've nearly been going for 90 minutes. So it's been a good one with everyone. Nice and quick, as always. I was going to say a long one, but it's flew over. An hour and 21 minutes we used lot. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to Transfer Talk Live. Remember, it is live at 5 every Sunday, apart from next Sunday, because the two are not playing. And this will get more difficult now when the season kicks off, because we will be playing Sundays very often. With the Champions League games, a lot of our matches have been moved to Sundays. First game of the season, we're fine Saturday, 5:30 against Villa, so we'll be able to do that one. But for me, we'll sort something out. I think how popular these are, how much you enjoy them, how much interaction there is with you lot, it's definitely worth doing. So I think going into the new season, we'll continue with at least one live show a week, like I'm doing now, maybe on a Thursday, something like that. Let us know in the comments what you think a good day would be to do these live shows. Maybe a Thursday night, say Thursday, 8 o'clock, something like that, would maybe be good when people are settling down. Because I think across the weekend, Friday night, people might be out Saturday, obviously match, Sunday, probably a match or reaction either way if we've played Saturday or Sunday. So get it in there for what you think will be a good day for a live show once the transfer window closes in September. Right, then you've had your 60 seconds, at least, probably more, since I waffled there. What we got? Last few comments. What about Target? Seemed like we bought him in last year begrudgingly. To have squad depth. Well, he hasn't been getting played, has he? I mean, Matty Target was very good for us on loan. Eddie Howe hasn't really fancied him. So he isn't getting a game. I mean, Dan Burn played there a lot, but I think Eddie Howe wants that idealistic left back in terms of athleticism and a better crosser of the ball. So can he bring one in with a month to go of the window? Do you think Man United will buy a centre back? Yes, I do, especially once Harry Maguire moves. Obviously, Maguire, West Ham had a bid of 20 million rejected for old Harry Maguire. Will he move? Probably this window, and I think obviously Man United will need to bring another body in. Ruben, rank the three kits in your opinion. I've got to say the three kits this season are unreal. I think every single one of them is lush. For me, the home one is first. I think it's beautiful. I think it's one of the best home kits in years. This is number one. And it's really hard to pick because I really like the green Saudi one, if you like. And I really like the third kit that's came out. I'm going to go with the green one. Yeah, I'm going to go in order. I'm going to go number one, home kit. Number two, green away kit. Number three, the third kit. But I really like the blue third kit as well. I think Castor, they get a lot of grief, and rightly so, if people are waiting on kits and some dodgy, manufacturing issues and stuff like that. But they have nailed the designs this year. And people cry out for Adidas to come back and stuff. But in Nike, seen the Brain kit the other night, lifting. Do you know what I mean? All the designs are so boring from Nike and Adidas this year for me. So the state of Arsenal's away kit, you know what I mean? Dodgy. So Castor just need to sort out the shipping and maybe the quality a little bit more. But the designs are spot on this year for me. Home, away, and third. Where do you predict we'll finish this season? I will say fifth. But I need to answer that again once we see the Champions League group stages, who we get in that, and who we sign/sell in the remainder of the window. Would you swap Bruno for Mbappe? Oh, you're really trying to get us, aren't you, Mo? You're really trying to get us. Nah. Nah, I love Bruno, man. Mbappe is the best. Oh, would I swap him for Mbappe? Am I lying? I don't know. I can't answer it. I don't know. Cheers, Lee. Appreciate that. Thanks very much. Definitely keep hitting the thumbs up if you haven't already, and subscribe. Duck and dive, Matty. Keep the ball up, liking it and tune in. Good idea for a show, mate. 90 minutes. 90 minutes with Matty. Mark, I might have just stole the title of the video for next season's live stream. Me and the missus were trying to work out what we could call it, since it's not going to be live at 5 anymore. We'll do a Thursday night or something. 90 minutes with Matty. Matty, 90 minutes. Matty, 90 minutes. I mean, the missus, I'm not going to get into that. 90 minutes from Matty. It's good quality. Cheers, Ian. Thoughts on us getting Tobido? Obviously, I had this up before, actually, and we can just quickly touch on this Tobido, because he is the one where apparently Eddie Howe is looking at the Nice centre-back, Jean-Claire Tobido. Apparently, they will demand around 35 to 40 million for Todibo. I keep on saying Todibo. And loads of other Premier League clubs are interested in the 23-year-old Todibo. But he is perfect in terms of what we're looking at a right centre-back, someone who's pacey, good on the ball, comfortable, everything we want. So could be one to look out for Tadibo, or is it again just another online rumor? Just like Denali, could we sign somewhere for someone from somewhere out of thin air? Completely pluck someone out who hasn't been linked at all? Probably so. Right, then that'll do, everyone. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in to this week's Transfer Talk Live. It's been a pleasure. There's still nearly 500 people tuned in. Love it. Love to see it. Do like this video if you haven't already. Please just quickly hit the thumbs up button. It's free. Subscribe as well. That's also costing you absolutely nought. And stay tuned. Plenty of videos coming next week on the Magpie Channel TV. One in particular is going to be very interesting and very different. Something that's never been seen or done before, and something that's quite big event coming up next week. So have an eye out for that one. Cheers, everyone. Subscribe, like, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Nice one. Take it easy, people. See you later.